So I want to talk a little bit about power. I find this to be a fascinating topic. I learned about it just a few years ago when I was doing a social work degree at McMaster University. My first degree I did in psychology, and this isn't even something that was ever discussed. We talked about all sorts of theories of behavior. That's good and all. So what is power? That's the question I'm going to address. I'm going to start by defining power by saying that power is potential influence. Unlike some other definitions that I've read that state that power is influence, I think that potential for influence is also a form of power, and it needs to be recognized. So the social sciences have identified about 6 different types of power. Now, I don't believe this is an all-inclusive list. I think there are different ways that power can be that are outside of this list. I'm not going to talk about power in terms of any kind of judgment. Good or bad, whatever it is, it can go either way. It's a matter of perspective, so I'm not going to give that perspective. I'm just going to tell you what power is, how it operates, and then you can see for yourself how that's operating in the lives of people. The first kind of power I'm going to talk about is coercion. We can talk about coercion as the application, or even just the threat, of applying a negative influence or negative stimuli. Usually people don't like this. This can be through some sort of physical means, where maybe you have the physical power over someone else to get them to do something. Before you accuse me of oversimplifying anything, I'm trying to make this in under 5 minutes. So, glossy. The next type of power I want to talk about is reward power. This is the one everybody likes. You get something for this. Most people have a price tag slapped on just about anything that they're willing to do. And if it's not a price tag, it might be recognition. It might be, well, of course, power is another thing. That's why it comes down to it, is there's stuff people want. And if they can get it, they'll do something to get it. People are willing to do a lot of things for the right reward. And if you're the one in the position to offer that reward, you're the one with the power. Let's talk about the power that comes from authority, or legitimacy, as it's sometimes referred to. This is your boss at work. Could be a parent at home or a teacher at school. These people have a position of power over you because of their authority. A police officer also has this sort of thing. They hold a position where they can do something, or they can make you do something just because of that authority. Someone's given them this authority, and so you have to fall in line. And if you don't, there's going to be some consequences, and it might be coercion power, those consequences. See, these things overlap. These concepts of power are not all separate ideas. There's definite overlap here. If I was going to go anywhere with the good or bad uses of power, it would probably be when talking about authority. You can fill in your own blanks there, though. Take it wherever you want. The next type of power is expertness. So if you're really good at something, you're going to have that potential to influence people through that skill. Of course, if your skill is being really good at video games and you want to influence somebody to win a football game, you don't have a lot of power there. Expertness has to be located within that realm of the skill, obviously. Now let's talk about the power of information. This feels like a kind of power that might be in every kind of spy crime story. Someone has information that someone else wants, puts them in a position of power. Other types of power are used. You can see this. Like, once you understand the different types of power, you can see how they're all struggling against each other at times. That's one of the things that makes power really interesting. So the difference between information and expertness is a little bit subtle. Expertness really comes down to a skill at something. Well, information, it might not be your information. It might be. Maybe because I know something. I just might be the possessor of information. It might not even be my information. I just have access to it. That's what that comes down to. And that's still power, just to have information on something. The final type of power is sometimes known as referent power. Excuse the name, it's not terribly clear. I didn't name it. I just read about it. This is a kind of power that comes from respect, love, even like fan worship. This is like celebrities. They have all sorts of power because people just want to be them. They want to do things like them. They want to act, they want to wear the same clothes, they want to talk the same way. This is that type of power that I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be celebrities, it could just be a friend, it could be a family member, someone you look up to and want to emulate. It could even be a fictional character. Fictional characters having power in the real life. It happens, it's real. But that person's character, whoever this person is able to influence other people to act in a certain way because of who they are. So in conclusion, social scientists usually refer to six types of power. Those types of power are coercion, reward, authority, expertness, information, and referent power. It's really interesting when you start thinking in terms of people's behavior, how it falls into one of these categories, what makes them do everything. Even traditional theories in psychology start to fall under these, things like operant conditioning. You can see that operating in things of like reward, coercion. It overlaps into a lot of these. I personally feel that power is the underlying cause for all behavior, which is why it's so interesting and so understudied. That's why I wanted to make a video. If you have any thoughts, any ideas, and you can even think of other, like I said, there's 6 types of power. There could be more out there. That's just what's usually referred to. If you think there's another one that doesn't quite fall into that list, you might be right. If you like discussing these kind of topics, click like, hit subscribe. We'll make more of these things. If you want to learn more about power, I might go a bit more in depth into some of these later on if that's what people want to hear.